Have you ever felt the weight of betrayal but chose to say nothing? No confrontation, no final words, just silence. Imagine someone wrongs you, disrespects you, or breaks your trust. Instead of seeking closure, proving a point, or demanding an apology, you simply let go. No anger, no explanations, just peace. This is not weakness, it is power. The Stoics understood that true strength is not in reacting, but in rising above. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." That means you do not lower yourself to their level. You do not waste energy on resentment. You do not seek validation. Instead, you walk away, not in defeat, but in mastery of yourself. Silent forgiveness is not about them. It is about you. It is about reclaiming your peace without waiting for an apology that may never come. It is about detaching from those who no longer serve your growth and thriving in your own world, free from their shadows. So, I challenge you. Can you let go without a word? Can you choose peace over bitterness? If this message resonates with you, share your thoughts below, and let's begin. Number 1. What does it really mean to forgive? Forgiveness, a simple word, yet one of the hardest things we can ever do. What does it truly mean to forgive? Does it mean letting someone off the hook, pretending the pain never happened, or inviting them back into your life as if nothing changed? Or is it something far deeper, something that has nothing to do with them at all, but everything to do with you? To understand forgiveness, we must first strip away the illusions. Forgiving does not mean excusing. It does not mean forgetting, and it certainly does not mean reconciliation. If someone has betrayed your trust, shattered your sense of security, or left scars that still ache, forgetting their actions would be a betrayal of your own wisdom. Forgiveness is not about erasing the past. It is about refusing to let the past dictate your future. The key distinction is this: forgiveness is an internal act, not an external transaction. It's not a gift you give to another person. It's a choice you make for yourself. When you forgive, you are not saying what you did was acceptable. You are saying, I will not let what you did define me. Yet forgiveness remains one of life's greatest challenges. Why? Because we often mistake it for reconciliation. We believe that to forgive, we must sit down, explain our pain, and seek mutual understanding. But here is a difficult truth. Not everyone deserves reconciliation. Some people are so toxic, so damaging, that reopening the door to them would only invite more destruction. Imagine this. A traveler is bitten by a venomous snake. The pain is immediate, sharp, overwhelming. But the real danger is what happens next. If he stands there, fixated on the snake, demanding an apology, the venom will spread. His anger will not stop the poison from doing its work. But if he acknowledges the wound, treats it, and moves on, he survives. The snake may never be sorry, but the traveler's healing is his own responsibility. The Stoics understood this deeply. We suffer not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them, said Epictetus. You cannot control whether someone regrets their actions. You cannot force an apology. You cannot make them understand the pain they caused. But you can control how you respond. You can choose to let go, not for their sake, but for your own peace. True forgiveness is not about waiting for an apology that may never come. Some people will never acknowledge their wrongdoing. Some will never change. And some will repeat the same harmful patterns if given another chance. That is why forgiveness in silence is the most powerful kind. It requires no words, no explanations, just a quiet decision to no longer carry the burden of resentment. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When you forgive in silence, when you stop reliving the pain and start reclaiming your own life, you take back your power." Because in the end, forgiveness is not about setting them free. It is about setting yourself free. Number 2. Stoic wisdom and the art of letting go. The Stoics were masters of emotional resilience. They knew that life is filled with betrayals, injustices, and disappointments. But they also understood a fundamental truth: clinging to anger does nothing but deepen our suffering. To them, forgiveness was not about morality, nor was it about making peace with others. It was about something far more powerful: reclaiming inner freedom. Why allow someone else's actions to take up space in your mind? Why let resentment poison your peace when that same energy could be used to build a life of strength and clarity? The Stoics teach us that the key to true freedom lies in one principle: focus only on what you can control. Epictetus reminds us that while we cannot control how others behave, we can control how we interpret their actions and how we choose to respond. When someone wrongs us, the instinct is often to retaliate, to demand justice, or to seek closure. But Marcus Aurelius warns against this trap. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. By holding on to anger, we allow the person who hurt us to continue influencing our emotions. Silent forgiveness, however, breaks this cycle, not for their sake, but for ours. This philosophy aligns with another vital Stoic principle: emotional detachment. This does not mean suppressing emotions or pretending not to care. It means acknowledging your pain, your anger, and your disappointment without letting them dictate your actions. The Stoics understood that emotions are natural, but when they take control of our thoughts, they become our prison. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest thinkers, wrote extensively on the dangers of anger. He believed that anger blinds us to reason, traps us in the past, and distorts our judgment. In On Anger, he offers this wisdom: pardon others as though you yourself are at fault. This does not mean excusing their behavior. It means recognizing a simple truth: we all fall short. We all act out of ignorance or pain at times. Forgiveness, then, is not weakness. It is an acknowledgement of our shared imperfection. But here is the key: Stoic forgiveness does not require reconciliation. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from resentment, not about repairing relationships that do not deserve to be repaired. Some people will never change. Some will never acknowledge the harm they have caused, and some relationships are best left behind. Marcus Aurelius prepared himself for this reality every morning. The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They act this way because they do not know good from evil. His advice? Do not waste your energy trying to change those who will not or cannot change. Instead, focus on your own path. Silent forgiveness is not surrender. It is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of strength. It is a declaration that while what happened to you may have hurt, it will not define you. It is the choice to move forward, not with bitterness, but with wisdom. Because letting go does not mean forgetting. It means remembering without anger, moving forward without resentment, and choosing peace over the weight of the past. Number 3. Why forgive in silence? At first, forgiving in silence may seem counterintuitive. We live in a world that glorifies confrontation, closure, and making our voices heard. The idea of forgiving someone without their knowledge, without their apology, and without any final words may feel like avoidance. But in reality, silent forgiveness is one of the most powerful and self-liberating choices you can make. So why choose silent forgiveness over confrontation? First, it protects your peace. Not everyone deserves access to your emotions. When someone has hurt or betrayed you, confronting them can sometimes do more harm than good. If they deny responsibility, shift blame, or react with hostility, you may walk away, feeling even worse. Silent forgiveness allows you to release the pain on your own terms, without reopening old wounds or inviting unnecessary conflict. Think of it this way: forgiveness isn't about their reaction, it's about your release. You're not giving them a chance to justify their actions. You're not waiting for them to understand. You are simply choosing to be free. Second, some people will never apologize. One of the hardest truths to accept is that some people will never acknowledge the pain they caused. They may lack the self-awareness, the empathy, or the courage to take responsibility. Waiting for an apology that may never come only keeps you trapped in frustration and disappointment. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This is not about denying reality. It's about choosing where to direct your energy. Silent forgiveness allows you to move forward without waiting for validation from those incapable of giving it. Third, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. There is a crucial distinction between letting go of resentment and rebuilding a relationship. While forgiveness is entirely within your control, reconciliation requires trust, and not every relationship is meant to be repaired. Some people are simply not good for you. Some relationships, especially toxic or abusive ones, are best left behind. Silent forgiveness gives you permission to release the resentment without reopening the door. You can forgive someone while keeping them out of your life. That choice is not weakness. It is wisdom. Fourth, silent forgiveness is an act of strength. It's easy to mistake silence for passivity, but true strength lies in self-control. Silent forgiveness requires you to rise above the need for revenge, to choose peace over pride. It is not avoidance, it is mastery. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Silent forgiveness is the ultimate form of self-mastery. It proves that you control your emotions, your actions, and your happiness, rather than allowing someone else's behavior to dictate your state of mind. Finally, it brings emotional freedom. Anger and resentment are heavy burdens. They consume your thoughts, drain your energy, and keep you tied to the past. Silent forgiveness is like releasing a balloon into the sky. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You simply open your hand and let go. Forgiving in silence does not mean ignoring your pain. It means acknowledging it, processing it, and choosing to move beyond it, not for them, but for yourself. Because true strength is not in holding on, it is in knowing when to let go. Number 4, steps to forgive in silence. Silent forgiveness may sound liberating, but how do you actually do it? Forgiveness isn't a single moment. It's a journey requiring patience, self-awareness, and conscious effort. Here are 4 key steps to help you free yourself from resentment. First, acknowledge and accept your emotions. Suppressing pain only prolongs suffering. Stoicism teaches us to face reality with courage. If you feel anger, sadness, or betrayal, allow yourself to process it. Writing down your thoughts can bring clarity. The goal is not to dwell on pain, but to understand it so you can release it. Your emotions are valid, but they don't have to control you. Next, accept what you cannot control. A fundamental Stoic principle is focusing only on what is within your power. You cannot control whether someone regrets their actions or seeks forgiveness. What you can control is your response. Will you carry resentment, or will you let it go? As Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Accepting what you cannot change does not mean excusing someone's behavior. It means refusing to let their actions dictate your peace. The third step is to release resentment with intention. Letting go of anger requires a conscious decision. Imagine your resentment as a heavy weight you've been carrying. Then visualize yourself setting it down and walking away. Journaling can also help. Write a letter to the person who hurt you, not to send, but to free yourself from unspoken emotions. Some people even burn the letter as a symbolic act of release. Finally, move forward without looking back. Silent forgiveness isn't about forgetting, it's about remembering without anger. It's carrying the lessons without carrying the pain. This may mean cutting ties or setting firm boundaries. But, above all, it means prioritizing your own well-being. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Forgiveness is not about setting them free, it's about setting yourself free. By letting go, you reclaim your peace, your power, and your future. Number 5. Lessons from the Stoics. The Stoics were masters of emotional discipline. They understood that resentment is a burden we place on ourselves, and that true strength comes from letting go of what we cannot control. Their wisdom teaches us that silent forgiveness is not weakness, it is self-liberation. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to expect the flaws of others and not be disturbed by them. He writes, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They act this way because they do not know good from evil.' This is not pessimism, it is preparation. People act out of ignorance, selfishness, or pain. Expecting otherwise only leads to disappointment. Holding on to resentment does nothing but trap us in anger. Silent forgiveness frees us from this cycle. Instead of waiting for others to change, we take back control by letting go." Seneca warns that anger clouds judgment and serves no purpose. He writes, "A great man can be injured but not insulted. Others may harm us, but we alone decide whether to feel wounded." He also advises, "Pardon others as though you yourself are at fault." This does not mean excusing their behavior, but recognizing our shared imperfections. Forgiveness does not condone wrongdoing. It refuses to let it define us. Epictetus reinforces this wisdom. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. We cannot force someone to apologize or acknowledge their mistakes, but we can choose to detach from the need for their validation. Silent forgiveness embodies this principle. It shifts our focus away from external circumstances and toward inner freedom. The Stoics teach us that forgiveness is not about them, it is about self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius urges us to expect imperfection and rise above it. Seneca reminds us that anger blinds us and that seeing our shared humanity makes forgiveness easier. Epictetus tells us to focus only on what we control, our thoughts, our actions, our peace. Together, their wisdom forms a powerful roadmap for forgiving in silence and moving forward with strength, clarity, and freedom. Number 6. The misunderstandings about forgiveness. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Some see it as weakness, as if letting go means allowing someone to escape the consequences of their actions. Others mistake it for reconciliation, believing that to forgive means to restore a broken relationship. And many assume that forgiveness requires forgetting, erasing the past as if it never happened. These misconceptions make the idea of silent forgiveness feel uncomfortable, even wrong. But true forgiveness is none of these things. Forgiveness is not weakness. Holding on to anger may feel like strength, but in reality, it keeps you emotionally chained to the very person who hurt you. True power lies in self-mastery. Seneca reminds us, "He who is most powerful is he who has power over himself." Silent forgiveness is not about excusing someone's behavior. It is about reclaiming control over your emotions. Letting go does not mean surrendering. It means refusing to let resentment dictate your life. Forgiveness is not reconciliation. Rebuilding a relationship requires trust, accountability, and mutual effort. But not all relationships can or should be repaired. The Stoics teach us that we cannot control others, only ourselves. If someone's actions have shown they are unwilling or incapable of change, it is not your burden to fix them. Silent forgiveness allows you to heal without reopening old wounds. Forgiveness is not forgetting. The phrase "forgive and forget" is misleading. Forgetting would mean ignoring the lessons pain has taught you. True forgiveness is about remembering without bitterness, acknowledging what happened, learning from it, and releasing the emotional hold it has over you. Silent forgiveness does not erase the past. It frees you from being imprisoned by it. Forgiveness is not suppression. Some mistake silent forgiveness for bottling up emotions, but there is a difference between burying pain and processing it with wisdom. Silent forgiveness does not mean ignoring your feelings. It means facing them, working through them, and then letting them go on your own terms. Ultimately, forgiveness is not about weakness, reconciliation, or forgetting. It is about freedom. Silent forgiveness allows you to reclaim your peace without needing validation, closure, or permission from anyone else. You don't need their apology. You don't need their approval. You only need the decision to let go and move forward. Number 7. How silent forgiveness transforms you. Silent forgiveness may seem like a simple act of letting go, but it is far more profound. It changes not only how you feel about the person who hurt you, but also how you relate to yourself, your emotions, and your future. It's a process of empowerment, growth, and liberation, one that transforms you from the inside out. The first and most immediate transformation is inner peace. Resentment is heavy. It keeps you emotionally tethered to the past. Silent forgiveness allows you to release that burden, creating space for clarity and calm. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By choosing to forgive in silence, you shift your focus inward, freeing yourself from the chaos of unresolved emotions. Silent forgiveness also builds emotional resilience. It takes discipline and self-awareness to let go of anger without seeking validation or resolution from the other person. But each time you do, you strengthen your ability to navigate life's challenges with grace. True resilience is not about never feeling hurt. It is about learning to process pain without being consumed by it. This shift in perspective extends to your relationships. Silent forgiveness reveals the truth about the people in your life. It forces you to evaluate who truly deserves your time, energy, and trust. Not everyone is meant to stay. Forgiving in silence does not mean welcoming someone back. It means setting them free and, more importantly, setting boundaries for yourself. As Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The same applies to relationships. True wealth comes from nurturing meaningful connections and letting go of those that harm. One of the most liberating aspects of silent forgiveness is letting go of the need for closure. Many believe that closure comes from a final conversation, an apology, or an explanation. But the Stoics teach us that waiting for closure is a trap. It keeps you tied to the past, hoping for a resolution that may never come. Silent forgiveness allows you to create your own closure. You do not need their words to heal. Peace is something you give yourself. Finally, silent forgiveness is a catalyst for personal growth. It challenges you to confront your emotions, reflect on your values, and choose peace over conflict. Each time you choose forgiveness over resentment, you become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Because in the end, forgiveness is not about them, it is about you. Forgiveness does not erase the past, but it frees you from carrying its weight into the future. Choosing to forgive in silence is not about them, it is about you. It is about reclaiming your peace, protecting your energy, and walking away with strength, not resentment. You do not need their apology. You do not need closure. You only need the courage to let go. The Stoics teach us that true power lies in mastering ourselves, not in changing others. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By forgiving without words, you take back control. You free yourself from the grip of past hurts and step forward, not as a prisoner of pain, but as the architect of your future. Silent forgiveness is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It does not mean forgetting. It means remembering without anger. It means carrying the lesson, not the burden. If this message resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments with "I choose peace." Let's continue this journey together, one of strength, clarity, and freedom. If you found value here, like this video, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Your past does not define you. Your choices do. See you in the next video.